Welcome to this podcast summary of Officer Brandon Tatum's explosive conversation with Konstantin Kisin and Francis Foster on Triggernometry. In this video, we break down 10 powerful takeaways that reveal Brandon Tatum's journey from a police officer to one of America's boldest conservative voices. You will hear about his views on faith, Israel, George Floyd, the media, and how speaking truth cost him friends. Stay with us till the end, because every takeaway adds a new layer to his remarkable and controversial story. Takeaway 1. He said, "This is evil and lost friends." Brandon Tatum told Konstantin Kisin and Francis Foster that when he publicly supported Israel, the backlash was worse than anything he had ever faced. He said, "I have never had people be more openly racist against me until I supported Israel." What shocked him most was that the hate came from people who once claimed to fight against racism. He saw anti-Semitism and hypocrisy rise together and realized that many who preach tolerance only do so until their beliefs are challenged. The same people who said they cared about justice now mocked and attacked him for defending Israel. This was when Brandon said the words, "This is evil." He meant that the hatred and lies spreading across social media had become a moral sickness. He saw people celebrating conspiracy theories about the deaths of others and using tragedy to make money. For example, he talked about the wild rumors around Charlie Kirk's death and said people were using grief as entertainment. To him, this showed that America's biggest problem was not political, but spiritual. He said, "What is happening now in America is a spiritual war where truth and decency are being replaced by hatred and chaos." His message was that people must return to truth and faith before the country loses its soul completely. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2. Why Black conservatives are called racists. Brandon explained that the moment a Black person speaks conservative ideas, they are attacked as traitors to their race. He said, "They call me the black face of white supremacy." Many people who say they fight racism now use racial insults against Black conservatives. Brandon believes this happens because when someone challenges the victim mindset, it threatens the entire system built on emotional control. The left, he said, weaponizes empathy to silence people who think differently. He noticed that those who claim to stand for equality only apply that rule to people who agree with them. For example, he said that when a Black liberal faces racism, everyone defends them, but when a Black conservative like him faces it, no one cares. He added that supporting Israel made things worse because it broke another rule of group loyalty. His view was that true freedom means thinking for yourself, not following what others expect based on skin color or politics. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3, the truth about policing and race. As a former police officer, Brandon Tatum said most people are being misled about race and policing. He argued that the media often turns complex incidents into false racial stories for profit. He mentioned the case of Michael Brown, where the slogan, "Hands up, don't shoot," became famous, even though the investigation proved it never happened. He said Barack Obama's Justice Department confirmed that the officer acted within policy, but the president still attended Brown's funeral and never corrected the false story. Brandon believes that moment planted deep mistrust in millions of Americans. He also spoke about George Floyd and said what Officer Derek Chauvin did was wrong and unprofessional, but there was no evidence that it was a racist act. He called Chauvin a nut who ruined the reputation of police everywhere. Brandon also mentioned a lesser-known case of Tony Timpa, a white man who died in police custody under similar or worse circumstances, but received no attention because it did not fit the media's racial narrative. For example, he said, "There is no money in sanity. There is money in hysteria." His point was that the media profits from division while ordinary people suffer from misunderstanding and hate. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4, how he became politically conservative. Brandon said that growing up Black in America meant you automatically voted Democrat because that is what everyone around you did. He admitted he once believed that Republicans were all racist. But during his time as a police officer, his views began to shift. He saw firsthand that many of his values, such as faith in God, personal responsibility, and being pro-life, were not shared by the Democratic Party. What really broke his support for Democrats was when President Obama publicly criticized police officers without knowing the facts. Brandon said that a leader who cannot support the men and women who risk their lives daily does not deserve his vote. He began paying attention to people like Dr. Ben Carson, whom he admired as a Christian and a man of integrity. When Ben Carson endorsed Donald Trump, Brandon decided to look deeper into Trump's campaign. That curiosity set him on the path that changed his life. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5, the rally that changed his life. Brandon went to a Trump rally in Tucson to see for himself if Trump was truly the racist that the media described. Outside the event, he saw protesters screaming at people, calling him names like white supremacist, even though he was black. Inside the rally, the atmosphere was completely different. People were friendly, patriotic, and diverse. Brandon said it felt like a real picture of America. He left the rally convinced that the media had been lying about what was happening. He recorded a short video explaining what he saw and went to sleep without thinking it mattered. When he woke up, his phone was full of missed calls from Fox News, BBC, and Sean Hannity. Donald Trump himself had shared his video. It went viral overnight, and Brandon became one of the first black men to publicly support Trump online. He said that was the moment he realized how powerful truth can be when people are brave enough to speak it. We're halfway through the video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying it, hit the thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. If you'd like to support us, please tap the thanks button below. It helps us keep making great content. Drop a comment and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6. The viral video that changed everything. While still a police officer, Brandon went through a deep period of depression and financial struggle. One day, a friend told him to speak out about Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national anthem. At first, he ignored the advice, but an argument with an old teammate who mocked him for not making it to the NFL pushed him to act. Angry and emotional, he recorded a short rant in his car wearing his SWAT hat. He said he never planned it or edited anything. He simply spoke from the heart about what the flag meant to him as a police officer and as a Christian. When he woke up, the video had reached 70 million views. Brandon said, "I didn't even say what I planned to say. I was just angry." That moment changed his life. Offers started pouring in, and he left policing to become a full-time commentator. For example, he was offered $20,000 more than his police salary to speak on camera. The viral video opened doors to a new career he had never imagined. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7, meeting Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. After his viral success, Brandon connected with other rising conservative voices. Candace Owens, who was then known as Red Pill Black, reached out to him on Twitter. They met in Phoenix and ended up arguing politics with her family for hours until the restaurant closed. That meeting turned into a close friendship. When Brandon's media company began to struggle, Candace invited him to join Turning Point USA, run by Charlie Kirk. He became the urban engagement director and worked to bring conservative ideas to black communities. He said that being a black conservative gave him a unique advantage because critics could not easily label him racist. For example, he said, "When a white cop says it, they call him racist. When I say it, they just get mad because it sounds stupid calling a black man racist." His time with Candace and Charlie taught him the power of courage and teamwork in spreading truth against media pressure. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8, from hating cops to becoming one. Brandon's view of police officers completely changed after doing a ride-along with Officer Sean Payne. As a child, he had been arrested at 8 years old for smoking marijuana, and that made him hate police. But during the ride-along, he saw what real policing looked like. One minute they were helping an elderly woman fix a flat tire, and the next they were speeding through traffic to save a suicidal teenager. Brandon said his heart was pounding as he watched the officer remain calm while talking the boy out of killing himself. That moment changed his life. He realized that real heroes wear badges, not just sports uniforms. He decided to become a police officer and later joined the SWAT team. He said, "Every night shift, I pulled my gun at least once. Every week I fought someone. Despite the danger, he loved the brotherhood, the purpose, and the chance to help people in need." Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9, losing his dream and finding faith. Before becoming a cop, Brandon's dream was to play in the NFL. He believed he would be drafted by the Oakland Raiders, and his whole family gathered to celebrate. When his name was never called, he felt crushed. He ran out of the house crying and said to God, "How could you do this to me?" For weeks he was angry and lost, but over time he saw it differently. He said that God closed that door because there was a bigger plan waiting for him. When the NFL lockout happened, he finally gave up the dream and focused on being a good father to his newborn son. Applying for the police department was part of that new beginning. His journey from failed athlete to devoted father and believer in God showed him that success is not about fame or money. It is about following your purpose, even when it hurts. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10, from broken home to football dreams. Brandon grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, in a home divided by divorce and struggle. His parents never got along, and he said he never saw them together. His father worked as a firefighter and taught him discipline, while his mother came from a family that battled poverty. Football became his escape from that chaos. He and his brother were both All-American players, with his brother going to the University of Texas and Brandon to the University of Arizona. He had talent and drive, but also a bad attitude. He said, "You wouldn't even recognize me back then. I had gold teeth and a terrible temper." His anger cost him opportunities, but it also taught him humility. In college, when he lost his place on the team, he found faith instead. The boy who once thought only about fame began to think about God, discipline, and purpose. That foundation would later carry him through every other challenge in his life. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.